So when the Red Sox have 5 catchers all trying out for just 2 roster spots on the MLB team, well, let's talk about who is going to be catching for the Red Sox in 2020. Let's talk about it.
Hold up, wait until the whole team show up, yeah. I'm in Neverland, can't grow up, yeah.
Hey, how's it going, guys? So today I am going to be talking about the one position that nobody is talking about with the Red Sox and this huge battle that could be going on over these next few weeks in spring training, and then also talking about the future of the Red Sox catching position. So before I forget, don't forget, go down and subscribe. I post a lot of different content about the MLB, the NFL, and the NBA, talking about the biggest sports topics. And I also do the same thing on my Instagram and also my Twitter, and all those links will be in the bottom description below. But I'd really appreciate it if you would go down and subscribe. So the one position that is a huge battle for the Red Sox during this spring training is the catching position. And so especially with the Red Sox picking up 2 new guys that could really be battling for this backup catcher position. So we saw the Red Sox decide to trade Sandy León at the start of the offseason, especially for a guy that was being paid $2.8 million just to be a backup catcher. It really didn't seem to make that much sense, especially with how inefficient he was last season on the offensive side of the ball. And so the Red Sox really just sort of decided that this was the time for them to move on and try to find a cheaper option for that backup catcher position. And so they went out at the start of the offseason and picked up a guy like Kevin Plawecki, who was a top prospect for the Mets just about 3 years ago. And we really saw his offensive ability sort of diminish and really couldn't see him be able to hit over 230 throughout his career in the major leagues. But he has that great defensive ability. And we really saw the Red Sox try and find a few different high prospects in these different trades for Mookie Betts, David Price, and it came out that they were very interested in guys like Colbert Ruiz of the Los Angeles Dodgers and Luis Campusano of the San Diego Padres. And it really sort of just made me think about if the Red Sox were maybe thinking about trying to move on from Christian Vazquez over these next few seasons. But Vazquez was really able to flourish last season. We really saw his offensive ability take a huge jump last season when he was able to hit 276 with 23 home runs. Like, when have you seen the last time a catcher be able to hit 23 home runs? And then when we also look at what the Red Sox did just about a week and a half ago when they traded for Connor Wong from the Dodgers, because Wong is a primary catcher, but he can also play third base and second base, but it really just sort of makes you take a step back and really sort of evaluate this catching position and really think, what does Chaim Bloom think of not only for the 2020 season for this catching position, but for these next 2 to 3 seasons. Then especially when the Red Sox decided to sign Jonathan Lucroy just a few days ago, and it was even just 3 days after catchers and pitchers decided to report to spring training, and Lucroy signed a minor league deal. Jonathan Lucroy is a guy who is at age 33 and is really in the back end of his career. We were really able to see Jonathan Lucroy be super efficient on the offensive side of the baseball in his early part of his career during 2011 to 2015 with the Milwaukee Brewers. And interestingly enough, he played with Ron Roenicke, who is the new manager for the Red Sox. And how this signing actually came about is it came out that Ron Roenicke decided to pick up the phone and call Jonathan Lucroy and asked him if he wanted to come on the Red Sox on a minor league deal. And it's just from their past relationship and with how important the catching position is for the Red Sox, with the versatility that the Red Sox had last year with really going back and forth with Sandy León and Christian Vazquez on each different pitcher. And we really saw that Lucroy could be a great veteran presence for the Red Sox, but we haven't been able to see him be as efficient on the offensive side of the baseball over these last 3 seasons, and we've seen his offensive ability decline insanely, especially when he has only been able to hit 248 over 1,263 plate appearances over these last 3 seasons. And so it'll be interesting to see how it'll all pan out between him and Kevin Plawecki over spring training. But when we just look at the stats of how important it is for the Red Sox to have those 2 different catchers, especially for their most important pitcher in their ace, Chris Sale, Chris Sale had a 2.96 ERA last season when Sandy Leon was his catcher. And maybe it's just that Vasquez isn't able to have that connection and really be able to call an efficient game for these different sort of pitchers and isn't able to build that relationship. I don't know exactly what it is, but we saw that Sale had an ERA of 6.68 when Christian Vasquez caught for him. And that is just very eye-opening statistics, and it really just shows how important it is that the Red Sox do have the versatility in the catching position and different sort of guys that are able to step up to the plate and really be able to work well with the different sort of pitchers. And so it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out in spring training. I quite honestly see Kevin Plawecki being sent down to the minors and Jonathan Lucroy being the backup catcher for the Red Sox, especially with his veteran presence. But one last thing that I wanted to touch on, which is very interesting, is that the Red Sox signed Jonathan Lucroy to a minor league deal, and they actually signed Kevin Plawecki to a major league deal. So I don't 100% know if that exactly matters with the expenditures of how much they're paying each player and how many options each player gets to be sent on to AAA, but it'll all go into the decision making that Chaim Bloom has before opening day to figure out who will be the Red Sox backup catcher. So if you guys did really like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you guys give me a big thumbs up. Comment down below who would you like to see in that backup catcher position for the 2020 Red Sox. And also don't forget to go down and subscribe to get a ton of different news throughout this new 2020 season. I'm going to be here talking about all the biggest sports stories and really analyzing all these different sort of overachieving or underachieving teams during this 2020 MLB season. So I'll see you guys along for the ride, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
The band, that's big views. Boarded the plane, won't be back to May. Now I can't camp it with you.